Hello. I hope this video finds you well. Myself, I can't complain too much. Um, so today, I just, I'm just tired of hearing stupid people talk. I really am. And I'm about to piss off a lot of people, at least the people that watch this video. Let's put it that way. I'm not perfect, never claimed to be. And although it would be nice, I'm not. Done a lot of things in my life. I was a volunteer for the Veterans Administration at a hospital. I've been a carpenter, been a police officer, been a security guard, been a soldier, um, been a supervisor, worked in call centers, just a whole lot of things. Been a laborer, digging ditches. And contrary to what some people may believe, not all bikers are for Donald Trump. Okay. Now, I've been leaving people alone, at least best I can anyway. Been trying to, but I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. I just can't. And so today I'm talking to you about Donald Trump, the Republicans, the Democrats, and the stupid, uninformed American voter. Now, first thing that you need to know is you're not special. I know your mama has been telling you that for years, but you're not. I know everyone likes to think that, but you're not special. And as someone who's been to multiple different countries, visited and lived, um, trust me, we're pretty much all the same. I've had ongoing contact and relationships with people from all over the world, all different races, ethnicities, ages, education levels, sexual orientations. And having said all that, America is no more special or better than any of them. None. And the USA, who is supposed to be a beacon of light, hope, and freedom to the world, has proven to the world that they are no better or smarter than they are, especially after this last election. You know, I honestly have the belief that 65% of the world is stupid, ignorant, functional idiots, or whatever parameter you want to throw on them. I do. It doesn't matter where you come from or what religion you are, if any. People are inherently stupid, even geniuses. People who have a 134 IQ still do stupid stuff. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you are uneducated or a total moron, although there are a lot of morons. It just means that no matter how educated or street smart or politically smart that you are, you're still human, and we as humans do some dumbass shit. Okay? That's just the way it is. We do dumb shit. Now, the other part of that also is knowledge is relative, as in relative to your environment, your culture, the area you live and work. It truly is. It's okay, it's like this. Let's say you live in New York City. You lived there all your life. You know everything about New York City. You know everything. You know where all the bodegas are. You know where the supermarkets are. You know how to travel on the subway, everything, right? You know how to avoid the bad guys in the street. But let me take someone who is indigenous from Cunayala in Panama, and I take that person and I put them in New York City, they're not going to know diddly squat, nothing. And you're going to feel like you're the smartest person on the planet because, oh, they're stupid. They don't know nothing. They're ignorant. But let me take you down there out of New York City. Let me take you down there and put you in that jungle down there in the Darien province of Panama, and let's see how smart you are. See what I mean? Knowledge, intelligence is relative. Okay? You can teach the ignorant. You can't do anything with stupid. And unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people in the world. Take the average Republican voter. I know. I'm going to make you mad now, but that's okay. Take the average Republican voter, who the majority are veterans or make less than $100,000 a year. These are the people who consistently vote against their own self-interest because the Republicans in general have been consistently adept at advertising and propagating their so-called defender of life, Christian values, pro-military and veterans, and anti-abortion bull, right? While in reality, nothing could be further from the truth. It's all a con game. It's the Wizard of Oz. They're the man behind the curtain. Let's talk. Let's just go with this. Because in reality, nothing could be further from the truth that Republicans are all these things they say they are. Let's talk about those Christian values in general. Christian, as in Jesus Christ, right? Gays are going to burn in hell. Really? That's Old Testament. That's from the Torah. Jewish, Hebrew. Hello. Christianity, New Testament. When did Jesus say anything about gays? When? When did Jesus ever mention a gay? Listen to me, a gay. When did Jesus ever mention homosexuals? The answer is he didn't. Jesus is not recorded anywhere as having said anything related to intimate sexual relationships between people of the same gender. So you have to wonder, if homosexuality is such a heinous sin against God, why does Jesus never refer to it? Instead, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Yeah. Christian, all right. Then let's take the abortion crap they always spew. Save the babies, save the babies. Yet, once the baby is born, right? Once the baby is born, screw you. It's your problem. This thinking is not just stupid, but it's dangerous. You protect the baby's right to be born, but not its right to have a decent life. Most unwanted babies are born to young mothers who grow up ignorant, don't have the advantages of being able to afford the pill or other contraception. Then Christians, you know, the Christian right fights against Planned Parenthood for whatever bullshit reason, being against contraception, abortion, sex education, gynecological exams, birth classes, child rearing classes. And then after all that, they're against medical assistance and food stamps for children. They're children. Let's just let the baby be born into poverty. Unwanted for whatever reason, right? They say, she should have kept her legs closed. Give me a freaking break, will you? She should have kept her legs closed. You couldn't keep your legs closed. You know you couldn't. You're full of it. The difference is that it's a weak argument. You need to shut up. So now we punish the child because mama and daddy made a mistake. And then you right to life asshole say, live with it. What a bunch of self-righteous bull. You people are so far from the teachings of Jesus, it's not even funny. And let's not forget the clinic bombings that killed doctors and nurses and injured patients. The harassment of patients just going to the doctor for an exam, not even going to get an abortion, just going to get an exam. Yet you call yourself a Christian. Yeah. Then there's the other part of the Republicans. They're the ultra-right Republicans and Tea Party morons, right? They're the super patriots, always posturing with, I'm a patriot. We got to take care of our military and our veterans, and we're going to do this, and it's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's not a falsehood. It's not well-intentioned. It's none of that. It's a lie. It's been a lie. If the Republicans and the Tea Party were actually such patriots, they wouldn't have cut funding or voted no on every bill that came down the pike in the last 10 years. Even before they decided to screw the American people because the American voter had the nerve to vote for a black president, they were screwing veterans and people in the military. People in the military. All you guys in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard, all you guys who didn't get a pay raise during that entire time of Ronald Reagan, George W., part of the Clinton administration, right? All those times that you weren't getting a raise, the times you didn't get a raise during the Obama administration, you better look at who was stopping it. Look at who was stopping those raises. You know who was stopping it? The Republican Party. They were voting along party lines. Democrats, which you guys seem to hate so much. They're so anti-military. Bull. They're the ones who voted to give you raises. They're the ones who voted to make your hospitals better. It was the Republicans who voted against every one of those bills, almost right down party lines. Republicans voted no, 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 no. Let's take a tally of the bills to help Americans that were blocked by Republicans and teabaggers since Obama took office. Let's take a look at the Job Act. The Job Act, to put more than 10 million U.S. workers to work building new roads, repairing old roads, bridges, sewers, and other infrastructure projects. Blocked more than 30 times. More than 30 times blocked by Republicans who were in charge of the Congress. Tax on companies that ship jobs overseas. Because we're always crying and moaning because somebody else is taking the job. It's not because you haven't educated yourself in the proper jobs, right? It's not because you haven't educated your children in the proper jobs that they need to get. Because, as we know, economies and the job market evolve. It doesn't stay the same. Just look at all the people in Sparrows Point, Maryland, who used to work at Bethlehem Steel and ask them. Employment evolves. So let's take a look at this. Tax on companies that ship jobs overseas. A bill that would have eliminated a tax break that companies get when they ship jobs overseas. Republicans blocked it, allowing companies to keep the tax break they receive when they ship jobs to other countries. Political ad disclosure bill. Y'all know this one. Would have required all donors to political campaigns to reveal themselves. Republicans blocked it, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Gee, I wonder why. Wonder why. Subpoena power for the committee investigating the BP oil spill. This bill was giving subpoena power to the independent committee responsible for investigating BP's responsibility in the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, where a lot of you guys, that live in East Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, you guys make your money in the Gulf of Mexico, yet you still vote Republican, you idiot. Republicans attempted to block this bill repeatedly, and it barely passed because the majority of Republicans voted against it. Small Business Jobs Act. Small business. You listening? Small business. For all you small business owners that are always out there griping, would give local community banks access to billions of dollars to loan to small businesses. Republicans blocked this, then attempted to block it a second time and failed. Barely passed. The DREAM Act. Yeah, because we can't have no illegal aliens here. Gives immigrant youth who were brought here as children a path to citizenship. Youth by earning a college degree or serving the military for 2 years. So if you served the U.S. military for 2 years, you would automatically get your citizenship. What's the problem? Why is this such a problem? Especially considering the majority of you patriots who like to walk around with a gun on your hip have never served in the military. Haven't even tried. Why? Because in reality, your patriotism is this. Nothing more. Repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell would have repealed the law that forces gay and lesbian service members to lie about their sexuality. Republicans blocked this over and over and over again. Democrats were finally able to pass it with the support of just 2 Republicans. Look, real simple. You don't like marijuana, don't smoke it. You don't like guns, don't buy one. You don't like abortion, don't get one. You don't like gay marriage, don't marry someone of the same sex. Otherwise, shut up and leave people alone. Senator Franken's anti-rape amendment to the Defense Appropriations Bill makes it so that women raped overseas while working for foreign contractors have the right to have their cases heard in an American court instead of having their case mediated by the company they work for. Only Republican men voted against this. Republican men, all the Republican men voted against it. It passed because Republican women voted for it. Yeah. Benefits for homeless veterans. Would have expanded benefits to homeless veterans and homeless veterans with children. Blocked by Republicans. Never passed. Affordable Health Care Act. Right? Prevents insurance companies from discriminating against you on the basis of pre-existing conditions. Requires that insurance companies spend 85 cents of every dollar that you pay on your actual health care. All this other stuff. Republicans blocked it for months before it finally passed. And they still vow that they're going to repeal it. And they're getting ready to repeal it. Thanks to you, Republican and Trump voters. Oh, but let's not leave out the Democrats. Thank you to all you Democrats who were pissed off because your Bernie didn't make it. Guess what? You screwed yourself. I don't feel for you. Now you're stuck with this orange idiot and a Republican-controlled Congress and Senate. Enjoy that, because you're getting ready to lose all that stuff you had. Healthcare for the 9/11 first responders. You know all that stuff? George Bush up there with the flag flying behind him, right? At the Twin Towers when they came down. All this stuff they're always talking about. Oh, remember 9/11, all that other good stuff. Really? All those first responders that got sick being at ground zero? This bill, the healthcare for 9/11 first responders, would provide billions of dollars in healthcare to help 9/11 first responders who were at ground zero, who are now sick from multiple illnesses. Guess what? Blocked over and over again by Republicans. Democrat. Republicans, the jobs bill offsets the payroll tax for 1 year for companies that hire new employees or people receiving unemployment insurance. Also gives other tax incentives to companies hiring new employees. Republicans tried to block it over and over again. It finally passed with like 3 Republicans voting for it. Wall Street reform. Put stricter regulations on the banks, preventing them from becoming too big to fail, like they did before, right? Stop the taxpayer from having to bail them out again. Republicans attempted to block it over and over again. American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, right? Pump billions of dollars into state and local governments to prevent these states and local governments from sinking into a further depression. Republicans opposed it for months, fought it left and right. Now they want to take credit for parts of it that we now know were successful. So now they want to act like they were for it. Stop watching Fox News, seriously. Oil spill liability raises the liability on what companies can be made to pay clean up after an oil spill. Republicans blocked it because Lord knows we don't want the company who spilled this stuff to clean it up. Immigration reform. Republicans suggested comprehensive immigration reform until Obama supported it. During the Bush years, they all were behind it. They all wanted comprehensive immigration reform until Obama said he was for it. Then all of a sudden they started voting against it. Republicans have blocked it over and over again, all the way up until now. And now they just want to go ahead and get rid of all of them. We'll talk about that in a minute. Unemployment extension. Bill H.R. 4213 would have provided additional aid to the millions of Americans still unemployed. Thanks to George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and the Republicans for 8 years, killing the economy. Republicans blocked this bill for 8 weeks before it finally passed. 8 weeks. Republicans blocked this for 8 weeks. Finally passed after like four or five Republicans finally voted for it. Fair Pay Act of 2009, also called the Lilly Ledbetter Bill, requires that women receive equal compensation to men for doing the same work. Republicans tried to block it as well. Barely passed. No permanent military bases in Afghanistan. They blocked report identifying hybrid or electric propulsion systems. Yeah. They blocked the report showing that hybrid and electric propulsion systems and other fuel-saving technologies in corporations and making them put them into motor vehicles, so that the world will still be around for our great-great-grandchildren. Protection of child custody arrangements for parents who are members of the armed forces. They blocked it. Improvements to Department of Defense domestic violence programs. They blocked it. Department of Defense recognition of spouses of members of the armed forces. Armed forces, that's you guys in the military, right? They blocked it. Oh, we can't recognize the spouses of members of the armed forces. Oh, and guess what? They also blocked a part of the bill for the recognition of children of members of the armed forces. Yeah. They don't want to know about your kids either. Enhancement to Troops to Teachers program, blocked. In 2011, the increase to military basic pay, blocked. Thank you, Republicans. Improving protection for members of armed forces, blocked. Comprehensive policy on neurocognitive assessment of military healthcare system, fixing the VA and military hospitals, blocked by Republicans. Since they're so pro-military and veteran, waving that little flag. Yeah. The Republican and Tea parties have held the United States hostage. And now they're holding us hostage with the orange dipstick. The power they possess is the majority in the Congress. Remember civics class? You remember civics class? It takes both houses to ratify a bill to make it law. So every time the Democrats and President Obama put forward a bill to help get the U.S. out of the dumbass bullcrap that Bush and the Republicans got us into, they scrap it. Mostly because they don't want taxes raised on the top 1% of rich douchebags, and their racist asses don't like having a black president. Plain and simple. So they would rather tank the U.S. economy than tax their rich friends or pass a bill put forward by a black president. The cost of the Iraq War alone, a war entered on lies by George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Lies. At, and we're talking about in 2009 was $8.9 trillion of the deficit alone. And that has grown. That's why the deficit is so large. 4,487 U.S. troops dead on a lie by Republicans. 32,223, and I believe that's even more now. 20% of which are serious brain or spinal injuries wounded on Republican lies to go into Iraq. Not to mention those flag waving pro military Republican teabaggers who killed bills through vote and filibuster. So let's talk about some of those bills. And you can look them up. I want you to look them up. H.R. 466, Wounded Veteran Job Security Act. This bill would actually provide job security for veterans who are receiving medical treatment for injuries suffered while fighting in defense of their country. It would prohibit employers from terminating employees who miss work while receiving treatment for a service-related disability. H.R. 466, look it up. Republicans blocked it. Voted right along party lines. Democrats for helping veterans, Republicans against. H.R. 1168, Veterans Retraining Act. This bill would provide for assistance to help veterans who are currently unemployed with their expenses while retraining for the current job market. Blocked. H.R. 1168. It was blocked by Republicans. H.R. 1171, Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. This bill would reauthorize programs in support of homeless veterans to assist them with job training, counseling, placement services through the Department of Veterans Affairs through 2014. H.R. 1171, blocked by Republicans. Voted straight down party lines, yes, by Democrats. You want to know who's against you, military? You want to know who's against you, veterans? Republicans. And that orange idiot in the White House. And if you don't understand that, you're an ignorant moron. H.R. 1172, requiring a list on the VA website of organizations providing scholarships for veterans, which does nothing more than direct the Department of Veterans Affairs to include information about scholarships for veterans. And they cut that down. Voted no all the way across the board by Republicans. H.R. 1172, please look it up. Don't look at Alex Jones. Don't listen to Rush Limbaugh. Don't watch Fox News. Look it up yourself. It's on the congressional website. Thank you. H.R. 1172. H.R. 1293, Disabled Veterans Home Improvement and Structural Alteration Grant. Here's another bill that was done in 2009 that would, in support of those who have fought for their country. You know what it would have done? It would have helped those veterans where it would not have cost them a cent to put up a ramp and to make adjustments to their homes to where they can easily get around because they were wounded and injured in battle. That's H.R. 1293. Shot down by Republicans. Voted yes by Democrats. Failed because Republicans have the majority. Senate Bill S. 1982 was killed by Senate Republicans. This last bill would affect 22 million veterans' benefits. 22 million. The vote was 56 Democrats yay, 41 Republicans nay, with supporters falling 4 votes short of 60 that they needed to prevail. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas and Dean Howard of Nevada were the only 2 Republicans voting to keep the legislation alive. And they were the only lawmakers crossing party lines. This was to help 22 million veterans with benefits. Voted straight down party lines to kill it. So let me ask you guys in the military. Let me ask you guys in the Army. See, because I'm an old ground pounder. So let me ask you my question is this. Do you really think Republicans are on your side? Are you really that stupid? Are you really that thick-headed? Now, if you look at everything I'm talking about, my facts are verifiable. Not some made-up crap from Donald Trump, Rush Limbaugh, faux news. Oh, sorry, Fox News, Cato Institute, or Alex Jones, Steve Bannon's racist alt-right Breitbart, which, by the way, is fake news, or any conspiracy theory conservative radio show nutbag. Try looking your wannabe facts up before talking smack with just conjecture and innuendo and lies. Let's start with just this first. Remember, don't let facts get in the way of conservative bullshit. You want to keep on believing that crap, keep believing it. But please know, you've been told many times it's crap. The following things are a matter of historic record and would not exist if Republicans had their way. 8-hour workday, overtime pay, federal minimum wage, Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. Labor activists started calling for 8-hour days in 1836. Franklin Roosevelt. As soon as I get the crap out of my mouth. Franklin Roosevelt signed the above provisions into law after protests, many of them violent, for years by the liberal left and organized labor. Unions, organized labor, unions. This country is strong when its unions are strong. Number 2, the GI Bill. Yeah, all you veterans, all your veterans who get that nice certificate to buy your house. The GI Bill, first enacted in 1944 under FDR, right? Which provides funds for military veterans to receive education and training, started unemployment compensation for veterans, facilitates loans for returning veterans to buy homes and start businesses. Wonder why one of those flag-waving conservatives didn't start that. I wonder why. Civil Rights Act of 1964, enacted under Lyndon B. Johnson, which outlawed major forms of discrimination against blacks, American Indian, Chickahominy, and Mattaponi. If you don't know those two tribes, I urge you to look them up. And women, including racial desegregation and unfair voter registration requirements. I know this is something that conservatives really don't like. This is what chased the KKK idiots over to the Republican Party, which is the real reason why teabaggers and Republicans go crazy over any time you mention about President Barack Obama and what he did and what he attempted to do to Republican bloc. Because they just can't stand that they had a black president. And for these morons like Ted Cruz from Texas who says, no, but the KKK was in the Democratic Party. Brother, read a history book. Crack a history book. Please open one up. And you'll find it all the way back in 1964 was when the parties changed. The parties changed. The Democratic Party became the party of tolerance and working for the little guy. While the Republican Party, although they're very adept and very good at spewing bullcrap about how they're for the working man, are full of crap. If you plan on getting old or sick someday, you want Social Security, thank FDR. Thank the liberals. And it was expanded under Harry Truman and LBJ. Helps to ensure that people who are too old or infirm to work can still access basic necessities. Medicare. All those Republicans you voted for, kill it. They're getting ready to kill it right along with Donald Trump. Yeah. Real smart, dumbass. Now remember, don't just fly off the handle with some bloggy, internet conspiracy, right-wing radio stuff. Buy some statistics and facts from real news sources. from real news sources. CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, BBC, New York Times, Washington Post, Forbes, or even that conservative rag, the Wall Street Journal. Not alternative facts. Not alternative facts. There's no such thing as an alternative fact. An alternative fact is a lie. It's not a fact. If it's not verifiable or has evidence, then shut up. You are passing on a lie, like the majority of Republican teabaggers and Donald Trump and that idiot Mitch McConnell and that moron Ryan do on a daily basis. Conservatives, Republicans, teabaggers have and are opposed to everything that would advance the United States. Conservatives opposed the American Revolution. Please feel free to look this up. Conservatives opposed freeing slaves. Yes, I know. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He had moved over from what is it? The Whigs, I believe, to the Republican Party. And at that time, the Republican was the Liberal Party. At that time, all the way up until 1960s. Conservatives opposed the women's suffrage movement. Conservative Republicans opposed minimum wage and child labor laws, the 8-hour workday, weekends, sick leave, etc., etc., etc. Conservatives warned us that the Fair Labor Standard Act of 1938, which established a national minimum wage, guaranteed time and a half for overtime, and they said it would collapse the economy. Guess what? It didn't. But President FDR, he countered at the time, do not let any calamity howling executive with an income of $1,000 a day, and of course we know that's like fucking $1 million a day now, tell you that a wage of $11 a week is going to have a disastrous effect on all American industry. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. They've been saying it for 80 years. If you raise the minimum wage, it's going to cause companies to close. It's a lie. I have more. Also, much. See, I have history and fact on my side. Okay? Whereas you InfoWars and Breitbart fans, well, you have nothing but lies, half-truths, and anecdotes based on bullshit. Conservatives and Republicans opposed humane treatment of animals. You know all them videos that came out, right? There's videos that came out with how they were killing pigs and cows and chickens just inhumanely. Since conservatives are too stupid to know how to make a buck unless they have to leave filth and pain and destruction in their wake, they consistently oppose any regulation that not only keeps our food supply free of filth they love to spread, but treats the creatures giving their lives for human sustenance with a level of dignity and humanity. As a matter of fact, conservatives are such insipid fascists that rather than address and rectify the abuses of factory farms, they are currently working to make it illegal for whistleblowers to film the abuse, which they did in Iowa. After all, if a pig's infected pustules are viciously sliced off without painkillers and no one is there to document the pig's screams, did it happen? And as for filthy conditions in farms, feeding the good old USA, 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 that conservatives pretend to love. Who cares if a few dozen serfs eat chicken feces and die of E. coli when a Republican campaign contributor needs more profit? We all remember when John Boehner's district in Ohio was experiencing E. coli outbreak. At the same time, he was trying to gut more food industry regulations, and they still are. They're trying to take with Donald Trump's help. They want to cut more regulations. Yeah. The bottom line is Republicans don't care if their constituents get sick and die. They don't care. As long as they keep getting their campaign contributions. To Republicans, that means there's one less person they have to disenfranchise out of voting. But if the survivors try to seek justice or recourse and try and sue the corporation who killed their child, their daddy, their wife or husband, it won't get too far since the John Roberts Supreme Court had something to say about it. Republican conservatives opposed the Social Security Act. Social Security, they oppose Social Security. Always have. And they want to get rid of it now. They want to privatize it, like the Affordable Care Act. Oh, by the way, for you morons who aren't bright enough, the Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. It's the same thing. And you're getting ready to lose it. All you super geniuses in Louisiana and Mississippi, right? All you guys in Kentucky who need your Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, same thing. You're about to lose it because of the way you voted, stupid. Conservatives oppose clean water and air. Once upon a time, conservatives, although still fear-based, greed-centered, and inherently racist, weren't completely batshit off the rails crazy. There were some who even believed that the land and environment we shared should be protected and shouldn't be utilized as a toilet for psychopathic corporations to dump all their waste in. Remember West Virginia? Remember Flint? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was Nixon who proposed the Environmental Protection Agency, a Republican. He's the one who formed the EPA, which was ratified by Congress and began operation in 1970. But since then, a chain of events has unfolded where powerful interests were able to reclaim the ground. They were forced to concede for the greater good. In a nutshell, after the defeat of Barry Goldwater, conservatives began to follow Lewis Powell's memo to the Chamber of Congress, a plan that laid out step by step how conservatives, and thus corporations, would take over America. Reagan was elected and began his assault on the New Deal. The American working class was transformed into the working poor, and still are. You see, one ironic tragedy of FDR's New Deal was that it created an economically stable middle class. That's bad for corporations because the CEOs can't keep the right-wing machine going when the middle class is strong and doing well. One aspect of the right-wing takeover of America laid out in the Powell memo was the suggestion that judiciary be stacked with extreme right-wing ideologues. Slowly but surely, these judges loosened regulations and undid campaign finance laws and removed what little barriers existed. Faced with the prospect of having to actually operate their businesses like members of a community, rather than psychopathic children like Donald Trump, conservatives whine, and the environmental regulations are job killers. As usual, this simply isn't true. In fact, environmental regulations actually create jobs. Another reason not to vote for those anti-union Republican teabagger asses is that America is strong. When unions are strong, plain and simple, the U.S. is strong. The teabaggers cry and moan about illegal immigrants. So what's more important and better for the economy? Stopping the immigrants who pick the fruit and veggies, or strengthening the unions with double the union jobs for the next 10, 20 years? I'll take the latter. And now with this Trumpish get rid of the immigrants rhetoric, I can just see it. Oh, I can see it now. You just see it when a can of corn or green beans is $4 a can. Eggs, $6 a dozen. Milk, $8 a gallon. Orange juice, $12 for a half gallon. Because when the farmers can't get any American to work in the fields, or has to pay even today's minimum wage to soft-ass Americans who say, I ain't working in no field picking anything for no minimum wage, then who's going to do it? The American people get more and more gullible by the day. Immigrants aren't taking your job. They're doing the jobs you don't want to do. If you aren't rich and you vote Republican teabag, then you're a damn idiot. Because you're cutting your own throat. For some religious or racial reason, that's just stupid. We have the money. If the stupid asses in the USA would stop voting Republican, if the U.S. Senate and Congress would raise the taxes on the top 2% to 36%, which is what it was in 1955, the good old days that y'all like to talk about, when the U.S. economy was at its highest, the current deficit would be gone in 6 years. Gone. If you combine that with closing all the tax loopholes for corporations, every social program the U.S. had in effect from the 70s through the 90s could be completely restored, and the entire stimulus package could be implemented instead of just part of it. And we would still have a surplus when the American people forgot where the prosperity actually came from and vote for another bullshit Republican again. There are so many places to get these actual facts, verifiable facts. Please try some of these links, okay? Instead of watching Fox, Faux News, conservative blogs, Alex Jones, that nutbag, Donald Trump or any of his surrogates, and all those other racist Republican teabagger dumbasses. Look, go to www.uscis.gov/e-verify. Go to www.bls.gov. Go to www.bjs.gov. Go to justice.gov. Go to senate.gov. Go to govtrack.us. Go to www.archives.gov. If you want to look up the presidential records, go to www.usa.gov to look up National Archives. Go to www.foia.gov. All you Trumpsters and Republicans, get ready. You guys wanted a political revolution, and that's what you started. All those apathetic voters who didn't turn out and all those who just didn't bother to register to vote have been woken up. The midterm elections are coming, and there's a movement coming. Enjoy this short-lived power you have right now, because in 2 years, it's the beginning of the end. So let's look at what Trump and Republicans have done so far since Trump's inauguration. Minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Yeah. A vaguely worded order, considering that the ACA was passed through Congress, this executive order can't change the law. However, Republicans in the controlled Congress are getting ready to. They're getting ready to kill it, and they're going to kill it without a replacement. Watch. Expediting environmental reviews and approvals for high-profile infrastructure. Trump directed those in charge of evaluating the environmental impact of infrastructure projects to return assessments sooner. Who will it affect? Trump promised to make new spending on infrastructure projects a priority. He needs Congress to approve any new spending, but this order will help expedite certain projects while skirting what environmental problems the new projects could produce. Does Flint, Michigan sound familiar? Border security, that border wall, right? It's unclear where the funds for building the wall are going to come from. But one thing is clear, you, the American taxpayer, are going to pay for it. $15 to $20 billion for a wall from the Republican-controlled Congress undoubtedly approved the spending for this wall, even though some of the land is privately owned. That means it's going to take somebody's ranches from them. Not to mention the Tejano Nation, who have their tribal sovereignty issue, who refuses to allow the wall to be built on their land because they have tribal sovereignty. Right? Enhancing public safety in the interior of the U.S. The Muslim ban. Yeah. Unconstitutional. Right? The Muslim ban. The executive order prevents refugees from entering the country for 120 days. The affected are Iran, Iraq, Syria, Sudan, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia. This is the ban on Muslims Trump promised during the campaign. It set off widespread chaos at airports, and U.S. Customs were tasked with implementing it. Not to mention the countries that actually produced the majority of terrorists and jihadists like Egypt, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia. Of course, they wouldn't have anything to do with Trump's business deals, right? They weren't even included in the ban. Commitments. Yeah, he dropped that, right? Some cabinet picks will likely have to submit new ethics agreements if they have financial ties with companies affected by the actions of their department. They will now have to agree to a 2-year moratorium instead of the original 1 year. But who will know? How will you know? I mean, after all, Trump hasn't disclosed all of his business dealings, especially those in Russia. He is he is a part of a misogynistic, homophobic, racist, xenophobic Republican Party that would rather put us back into the 1950s when life was only good if you were a subservient woman or a white man. And they have been proving it every day, right in your face for 2 years without shame. Donald Trump, quote, any negative polls are fake news, just like CNN, ABC, NBC. Polls in the election. Sorry, people want border security and extreme vetting. Lie. Quote number two, watch protests yesterday, but was under the impression that we just had an election. Why didn't these people vote? Celebs hurt cause badly. Lie. We are going to have an unbelievable, perhaps record-setting turnout for the inauguration. And there will be plenty of movie entertainment stars. For all the dress shops are closed out in Washington. It's hard to find a great dress for the inauguration. Not an alternative fact. A lie. Happy New Year to all, including to my many enemies and those who have fought me and lost so badly they just don't know what to do. Love. Happy New Year to you too, Donnie. Grow up, dude. An extremely credible source has called my office and told me that Barack Obama's birth certificate is a fraud. This racist ass was determined to expose Barack Obama's birthplace back in 2012. He even said he sent investigators to Hawaii, proving Obama wasn't born in the United States. Lie. I mean, I will build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me. Believe me. Look, if somebody's telling you on a regular basis, believe me, or to be honest, they're lying. Turns out, you Trump supporters, you're going to be paying for the wall with your taxes, idiot. Going to make Mexico pay for it. And you bought that? When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending the best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. Just another racial slur from Donald Trump. Look, he's a douchebag. Everybody knows it. So, I mean, like when he talks about gays. I have so many fabulous friends who happen to be gay, but I am a traditionalist. Does that mean? You're a traditionalist what? You only go gay if you're in jail? What? Lying Ted Cruz just used a picture of Melania from a shoot in his ad. Be careful, lying Ted, or I will spill the beans on your wife. Yeah, that's really classy. Threaten your opponent's wife on Twitter. And while all this was going on, the majority of your Republican Tea Party senators, Congress, persons, and governors sat silent or defended this sorry piece of human trash. But let's not leave out the Democrats, because you Democrats are you spineless, sorry, whipped little puppies. Get some balls, will you? Grow some cojones. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Tulsi Gabbard have more guts standing up to these conservative douches than all you put together. You want to win the hearts of the people back? Then fight. Stop whining and start saying the way it is and stop trying not to offend. Kick ass and take names later. This is what the American people are waiting to see from the Democratic Party. Why do you think they love Bernie and Elizabeth so much? Because they fight, stupid. They take a board, just like that old army mule, and they smack it between the eyes to get its attention. Don't, now, get off your ass and show us that you are willing to get in the fight like you've been seeing Americans in the streets fighting since Trump's been elected. The least you could do is show the same resolve fighting for us against a bunch of racist, bigoted, old, rich douchebags. What happened to the America I defended? What happened to the shining city on the hill? The Republican Party and the idiots who voted for them have all but destroyed it. That's what happened. Now what? Hmm? What? What are you going to do? You, as a Democratic representative, whether you be state, local, or federal, what are you going to do? You regular people out there in the street, you regular people working every day, busting your hump every day, to put money in the pocket of some Republican jackass or some douchebag like Trump. What are you going to do? What? Whatever you're going to do it already.